The AI in GTA 6 is actually terrifying. Rockstar just patented technology that lets every single NPC in GTA 6 generate its own personality, its own driving habits, and its own grudges against you in real time, with zero hand scripting. That means the guy that you knock over outside the gas station in Vice City isn't running a script. He's making a decision, and if you do it again next week in a different part of the map, he might remember your face and come looking for you. This video breaks down the actual patents and confirmed tech behind GTA 6's NPCs, and by the end, you'll know exactly why this game has taken 11 years, why it cost over $3 billion, and what that money actually bought. But before we get into what the NPCs actually do, you first need to understand what they're running on, because none of this works, the memory, the routines, the police AI, none of it without the engine underneath it. And coincidentally, the engine is the part that almost nobody talks about. GTA 6 runs on something called Rage 9. Rockstar has been building the Rage 9 engine since the PS3 era, but this version is built around a completely different problem than the previous GTA game solved. GTA 5 had to render a big city with a decent draw distance and explosions that looked good. That's a graphics problem. Rage 9 is solving something closer to a simulation problem. It has to rack thousands of independent NPC AI systems running all at the same time, all making their own decisions, all updating, all without the game lagging. Think about what that actually requires for a second. Every single pedestrian on a Vice City sidewalk is running its own small decision-making system. Where am I going? What's the weather doing? Am I late? Is there a cop nearby? Did I just see something that I should react to? Multiply that by every single NPC visible on your screen and every single NPC simulated just outside of your view distance, and you end up with something closer to a city simulator that also happens to render in photorealistic detail. The reason this game is taking as long to come out as it is isn't because the devs are lazy or perfectionists, it's strictly due to processing power. The demand of running thousands of independent AI systems simultaneously is closer to what you'd see in a deep city builder or an RTS managing an entire economy. Except here, it's wrapped around a third-person action game that also needs to run at a stable frame rate on a console. Rage 9 had to be engineered from the ground up to make that even possible, and that engineering is the actual bottleneck that the internet's been joking about for so many years with the "we got such and such before GTA 6" meme. There's one more patent tied to the same engine that almost nobody outside of the world's biggest nerds, such as myself, has actually seen, and it might actually be the single biggest quality of life jump in the entire game. Take-Two holds a patent for AI-driven procedural interior generation, which is a bunch of words that basically just means buildings get their insides built automatically using tags and style parameters instead of a human artist hand finishing every single room. So a high-end apartment gets generated to look clean and expensive, and a rundown house gets generated with broken furniture and clutter that matches the neighborhood it's sitting in. Up until now, every single enterable building in a Rockstar game has existed because someone actually manually sat there and designed it, which is exactly why so few buildings in GTA 5 actually opened. I mean, look at this building here. You see all of these windows, but none of them are real. They're just stickers on the outside of the building. You can't actually enter the building. This patent suggests that that bottleneck is completely gone, and the practical result is a city where dramatically more buildings, maybe even most of them, can be entered, explored, and used to hide from the police, for example. Okay, now here's where it gets specific, so stick with me. Rockstar has patents on file, public searchable patents, that describe exactly how individual NPCs are going to remember what you did to them. So like, for example, just picture this, right? You're wreaking havoc on one specific neighborhood repeatedly, all day. You're knocking people over, you're starting fights, whatever it may be. Most open world games treat every encounter as disposable. So if you were to ram a pedestrian with your car, it may die, but then if you come back later, the NPC is just going to be walking around like nothing happened because the game doesn't remember that that actually happened. As soon as you turn around, the game forgets. GTA 6's system is a little bit different though. Well, a lot different. NPCs are designed to build something like a grudge. If you keep targeting the same person or keep causing trouble in the same area, the game tracks that. The NPCs start to recognize you. And so what that may mean for the actual game is that an NPC who remembers you might avoid you entirely. He might change their route, lock their doors, or refuse to engage you, or maybe they do the opposite. Maybe they wait for you. Rockstar has actually specifically described a scenario where a bullied NPC eventually shows up with a baseball bat looking for payback because you wouldn't leave them alone. And that changes how you have to think about playing the game, because in GTA 5, your actions were basically consequence-free outside of your wanted level. In GTA 6, the world appears to be building a memory of who you actually are. So neighborhood by neighborhood, NPC by NPC, the version of Vice City you experience after a month of bullying random pedestrians might genuinely look entirely different from the version someone else experiences if they played it straight. And that's not just some little graphics update, that's an entirely different kind of game. And this is where the social media system Rockstar's confirmed actually connects to everything we just talked about. NPCs in GTA 6 don't just witness the crimes you commit and forget about it. Some of them are filming it. The game includes NPCs who pull out their phones during public incidents and post what they record straight to an in-game social media feed, the same way a real Vice bystander in real life would film a fight and then post it on TikTok within the hour. And then what happens when that clip spreads? Your crimes that get recorded have the potential to go viral inside of the game world itself, and your notoriety builds organically off the back of footage you didn't even know was being captured at the time. Some of these NPCs aren't random bystanders either. A handful of them are actual influencers with actual followings inside of the game's world. So imagine in real life, you go around and punch someone and then you look to your right and there's Mr. Beast filming you. You know, it's going to have a lot bigger consequences than if some random person was filming you. But also, what if the influencer wasn't just the one recording? What if they were the one that you were targeting? What if they were the one that you were punching? Would that change something? I mean, if they really have their own following inside of this world and they're really famous, that could trigger a citywide reaction or unlock content tied specifically to that interaction, which raises a strange new layer of strategy that no one's had to think about ever before. I mean, maybe now when you kill someone, it's not just about running away from the police, it's about killing any witness or killing anyone who's recording, so you don't wake up to a clip of you shooting a random NPC with 10 million views. Now let's switch over to the systems that most people are actually worried about, because GTA 5's AI police was, to put it gently, pretty broken. Cops in GTA 5 somehow always knew exactly where you were, even around corners, even out of sight, and the response always felt like it went from 0 to death squad in like 2 seconds. Rockstar knows this was a problem, and the patents and confirmed details suggest that they've already completely rebuilt it for GTA 6. The new witness system means NPCs react to crime based on who they actually are. So some witnesses, for example, might panic and run, some pull out their phone and start recording instead of calling anyone, some intervene directly. They try to stop you, try to help the victim, try to get involved in a way that has nothing to do with the cops at all. The whole system is personality dependent rather than running off one universal civilian sees crime, civilian calls 911 script like in GTA 5. And the police response itself scales with what you actually did. So if you slap somebody on the sidewalk in GTA 5, you might still end up dodging a tank or police helicopter within a minute, where in GTA 6 the response is a lot more proportionate. So if you slap someone, you may bring a single officer who actually investigates the scene, not, the SWAT team pulling up on you in 0.3 seconds. So the severity of your crime is supposed to map the severity of the response, which sounds obvious until you remember that no GTA game has ever actually done that. There's actually a video I watched, a great video by Annie Austin, where he talks about what's actually illegal in GTA 5, and he shows that, the most petty crime has the exact same consequence as murdering someone. Like, the police don't care. They'll shoot you for jaywalking. On top of that, police are going to be using actual line of sight searches. So if you break contact with them and they don't see you and they don't know where you went, they aren't going to magically see you through a wall like in GTA 5. And because there are dispatch timers built in too, that means that there's a real window between crime committed and cops arrive. And that window is your actual opportunity to get away or change your appearance. And when they do find you, the patents describe police attempting to negotiate before opening fire, instead of the instant firing squad behavior from GTA 5. Put that together and you get something that finally resembles a real escalation ladder instead of just one panic button. Witnesses will remember your description, which means changing your clothes and laying low actually matters. Cops respond proportionally instead of nuking your location the second you jaywalk near one. And if this holds up the way that the patent describes it, the entire cat and mouse loop of GTA, the thing that's been the backbone of the franchise since GTA 3, gets rebuilt from something arcadey into something that actually rewards creative thinking. All right, now this is the part that I think gets undersold the most, because it's not really flashy in a trailer. It's the kind of thing you only notice after 20 hours in the game. NPCs in GTA 6 have actual routines instead of just standing around waiting for you to interact with them. The confirmed details describe NPCs with actual jobs, actual relationships, and schedules that shift with the world around them throughout the day. For example, traffic gets heavier during what would be rush hour in-game. Locations change population depending on the day, so you'll have beaches packed with people in swimwear on a weekend and noticeably empty on a weekday afternoon. And that kind of thing is easy to look over and look past, but it's one of the main things that makes the world actually look and feel real. It means that the city's actually operating on its own internal logic, independent of whatever you're doing. And weather ties into this too, and not just in the, oh, it's raining now sense GTA games have always had. NPCs are described as actually responding to weather conditions, such as seeking shelter when it rains, dressing appropriately for the temperature, pulling out umbrellas, moving more sluggish when it's hot out, etc. None of that affects your mission objectives. None of it is required for anything. It's just there, running underneath everything else, because Rockstar wants the city to feel like it has weather instead of just displaying it. And this is the difference between a backdrop and a world. A backdrop exists for you. A world exists whether you're in it or not, and you just happen to be passing through it. If GTA 6 actually delivers a city where rush hour is real and beaches empty out on weekdays and people change their behavior based on the temperature, that's the first GTA map that's going to feel less like a stage stage built for your missions, and more like a place that was already going on before you ever even showed up. Let's now talk about something that sounds technical, but actually changes how the entire game is going to feel the second you pick up your controller, and that's how the characters actually move. Every single GTA game up until now has relied on a massive library of preset animations. So Rockstar's animations would record a run cycle, a limp, a stumble, 100 variations of getting shot, and the game would pick from that library depending on the context. It looked good, but it had a ceiling. There are only so many pre-built animations you can record before the budget and the hard drive space both say no. GTA 6 throws that model out the window. There's a patent describing what's called as procedural animation, and basically what it does is instead of picking a whole pre-recorded animation, the game builds movements out of small modular blocks in real time. So a limp gets generated, a weather reaction gets generated, carrying a heavy object gets generated, and the system blends them together on the fly based on whatever's actually happening to your character in that exact moment. So picture a character who's fatigued, walking through the rain while carrying a body. In the old system, that's either a pre-built animation that handles all three at once, which almost certainly does not exist, or the game just ignores two of the three conditions and plays the closest generic animation that it has. In GTA 6's system, all three conditions get layered together and generated as one unique movement specific to that moment, that fatigue level, that weather, that weight, and that means that two players doing the exact same mission the exact same way are still going to see slightly different movement depending on what their character has been through leading up to that point. It's a small thing on paper, but again, it's one of those things that just adds up to the immersion of this game, because human brains are extremely good at clocking when movement looks generic versus when it looks specific to a situation. This next piece pairs directly with the animation system I just talked about, and if you've played RDR2, you already have a baseline for how good Rockstar's physics can get, but GTA 6 is described as a real step up from even that. Euphoria physics have been Rockstar's signature tech since GTA 4, and it's the reason NPCs in their games have always reacted to impacts more believably than most other competitors. People always praise GTA 4's physics system for being one of the best, and GTA 6 is pushing that even further. NPCs stumble realistically, react to being hit with actual dynamic balance recovery instead of scripted falls, and that recovery is described as surpassing what even heavily modded RDR2, a game players have spent years pushing to its absolute limit, was able to produce. Combine that with the procedural animation system from the last segment, and what you get is that every single physical interaction in the game becomes genuinely unpredictable in the small, satisfying way that makes physics-based games replayable. If you shove someone off a dock in GTA 5, you've seen that ragdoll 100 times by now. You shove someone off a dock in GTA 6, and the combination of their fatigue, their footing, if the surface was slippery, etc., means that exact same moment isn't guaranteed to ever look the same way twice. Now here's a system I think is going to get massively underrated until people actually spend time in traffic, because it sounds boring on paper and ends up being one of the most immersive things in the entire game. Rockstar has a patent on driving behavior that uses what's described as a dual-layer navigation system combined with real-time decision-making, meaning NPC drivers aren't just following a fixed route from point A to point B anymore. They're making contextual decisions based on traffic, weather, the type of road, the type of vehicle they're driving, and their own personality as well. Picture an NPC who just got fired from his job. He's coming home after a long day at work, and right before he clocks off, his boss tells him that he's fired. Well, when he's on the road, he's not going to care about shoulder checking. He's not going to care about the speed limit. He's going to be driving recklessly and more likely to cause an accident. And then on the contrary, think about someone who's just smoked weed before getting behind the wheel. That driver is going to be slow, cautious, hesitant. It's the same road, same traffic, but two completely different NPCs with two completely different driving behaviors because the personality behind the wheel is different. And it goes further than reacting to traffic in the moment, because NPCs are described as actively problem-solving detours during emergencies, meaning if a road's blocked or something chaotic is happening, they don't just sit there waiting for a fixed waypoint to free up. They reroute the same way a real person would. Traffic in every previous GTA game has been a wallpaper. It exists simply to make the city look and feel alive and occasionally to crash into during a chase. But if this patent holds up the way it's described, traffic becomes one more layer of a simulation that's actually alive. Every car around you driven by something with a reason for driving the way it's driving, even if you never find out what that reason actually is. Last piece of the movement puzzle, and it's the smallest one on the list, but it closes the loop on everything that we've already talked about. NPCs walking through the city are described as having real-time pathfinding, meaning they're not following a pre-baked walking path that occasionally glitches them into a wall the same way background pedestrians have for entire history of this franchise. They're solving the problem of how do I get from here to there live the same way the driving AI is solving traffic. And on top of that, the way someone walks is tied to who they are. So cops carry themselves differently than gang members. Gang members carry themselves differently than tourists. It's a role-based posture, and the game is encoding identity into the way a body moves through space, not just what the body's wearing. wearing. Stack that on top of everything else in this video, the memory, the police escalation, the procedural animation, the physics, the driving personalities, etc., and what you get isn't a list of individual features, it's a single coherent idea Rockstar has clearly been building towards for an entire generation, which is a city where every single person in it, named character or background extra, behaves like they have a reason to be there. Now this one's about the business behind the technology, and it tells you everything about how seriously Take-Two is treating it. Take-Two CEO Strauss Zelnick has been direct about the company's philosophy here. AI is meant to enhance creativity at Rockstar, but not replace it. The way that's actually playing out is machine learning handling the repetitive number crunching, the part of the game design that's genuinely tedious and doesn't benefit from a human touching every single instance of it at all, so that Rockstar, the actual designers and writers, can focus on what actually matters and focus on the creative side of it, instead of having to script thousands of individual NPCs by hand. That's also, by the way, part of why this game reportedly cost over $3 billion to make. Part of that budget bought a studio's worth of custom AI tooling built from scratch on top of the graphics to make a simulation this deep even possible. Whatever you think about AI in games generally, it's worth understanding what Rockstar is actually using it for here. This isn't generative AI writing dialogue or replacing actors, it's infrastructure, the unglamorous machinery sitting behind the game itself that lets a small army of human designers build a world this dense without literally hand placing every single behavior themselves. So that's the AI underneath GTA 6. The part of this game that's going to define how it actually feels to play way more than any single mission or story beat ever will. Thank you so much for watching. I'm trying to hit 1,000 subscribers before GTA 6. I'm at 19 right now. I know I've got a long ways to go, but it would mean the world to me if you guys could subscribe. I'm not going to force you though. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.